Hello and welcome to another episode of Tander Chats. You're with me, James, and I'm with my fellow Tanders, Jed, Rico, JV. And we have another special guest today, si Franco, who actually works for Mineski Events Team. Tama ba?
That's correct. Yes.
Yan. Franco, please introduce yourself naman, sir.
Yeah. So hello everyone. Thank you for having me on. So big. Before I introduce myself, big fan of the podcast. Been listening
Yay.
to it a lot.
Thank you.
Yes, because I feel that you're my age group, so I can relate a lot.
Yan. Katanders din.
Yes.
Katanders.
Standards din pala rin.
Correct. So
uh,
yes. For Mineski, I work as a product manager for the technology part of Mineski Events Team. So
mhm.
if you would have Mineski put on top, so Mineski is like the holding company, and then we would have the Esports,
Okay.
you would have the Infinity Cafes, and then you would have another branch for the team, another branch for the technology part. So that's the department I'm working for under
Oh.
Ronald Robbins, who's actually an ex Dota player. Way back. He's 32 years old, family of three now. So he's an ex-gamer, and he's trying to push gaming at the forefront because that was his promise: is that he will give gaming a future, and there's future in gaming for the people.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Wow.
Yes, that's his vision.
Ang ganda ng company introduction. No? Pero laki pala ng Mineski, no?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Daming group of companies. So yeah, it actually perfectly ties with our topic for today, which is all about esports. Esports being, I guess, the future of sports na soon-ish. Mas lalo na with this pandemic, I think it's accelerating what esports can and should be. So yun ang main topic natin for today. But before that, as usual, let's talk about what have we been playing. Yan, Franco, it's our show tradition to let the special guest start first. Why don't you start first?
Okay. So the two games that I've been playing is Fire Emblem on the Switch.
Nice.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yes. And then the second one would be Days Gone on the PS4.
Yan, Jed's
He's
game.
gone.
Don't laugh.
Do you like it, Franco? Okay ba?
Oh.
Sige.
Okay. Kasi, well, the mistake is I shouldn't have played Ghost of Tsushima before I played Days Gone.
Oh no. Okay.
Because for me now, the benchmark of a open world game is Ghost of Tsushima. Actually, Horizon Zero Dawn, I replayed it during this pandemic. I was like, it's quite different. I was quite disappointed with Horizon Zero Dawn because Ghost of Tsushima is now my benchmark. But if I were to rate Days Gone by itself, I think it's an excellent game. It's a bit repetitive, but I think they have a good product to move on for the sequels.
Ouch.
Whoa. May guilty tuloy ako. Pinagtatawanan ko dati.
Oh. Hindi, pero wala eh. From the look of it talaga, kahit nung todo benta sa mga videos, wala talaga eh. I'm sorry to say.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's super repetitive, and there's a lot of technical issues. So technical issues being, if you play it on the pro, there's a lot of pop-ins.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like there was this scene where I was driving with Boozer, who's the partner of Deacon, and then it stops because there's supposedly a blockage on the road, and then you can see there's no cars, and then when it moves on to the next scene, you can see the cars popping in right after.
Oh.
Ouch.
So, open world game na may technical issues. Was this published by Ubisoft?
Oh my
Oh, snap. Well, Rico will never get that sponsorship from Ubisoft.
Blacklisted.
These are ito yung meta ng Tander Chats. Yung mga Ubisoft,
Oh, yeah.
SnowRunner, is always forever.
Ay, nako. Pero for your information, it's a first party title ng Sony yan, PlayStation.
It's from PlayStation Studios. Sony Bend is the I think the developer who made the game.
Mm.
Oh, nga pala, no? Yeah, I keep forgetting about that. It's
Mm.
exclusive.
Yes, but Fire Emblem, quite good, very good actually. Natutuwa ako sa kanya.
Oh yeah, it's so good. Fire Emblem, I think. How long have you been playing Fire Emblem now?
I just started, so 5 hours in. So I just learned how to teach the students. So I got my first taste of
Oh.
battle. I think 3 battles, and I started teaching the students. It's a bit
Yeah.
overwhelming at first, but it's quite easy. It's easier than Persona 5.
Oh,
Mm.
cool. Yeah,
I
5 hours. Yeah.
I think Fire Emblem, no, yung tong latest one, no. The pacing is really well done. And it eases you in properly, no. It introduces new mechanics one at a time. Although ang dami nga, but yun, you'll get used to it then as the further you go down and you play.
Yes, and I like the fact that there's branching storylines. So at the start, you're gonna somehow replay it sometime in the future to know the
Yes.
other houses.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I haven't played the game, so what's the best way you could describe it? Because I also know it's quite popular, but what's the best way to describe Fire Emblem to someone who hasn't seen it yet?
Okay, so I would think that there's 2 parts of the game. So one would be the strategic aspect, so which is Final Fantasy Tactics. So I think all of us are familiar with Final Fantasy Tactics.
Sold
Yeah.
Sold na.
Okay,
So,
bili na.
Bili na. And then the other one would be the slice of life portion of it, which is like Persona 5's version of it, where you interact with the students, you get to know their lives, their daily activities, you teach them, you dine out with them, which I liked because I played Persona 5. So coming into this game, I was mentally ready that, okay, so there's a slice of life and there's a strategic aspect to it. So it's not repetitive. So the story builds on by itself, and the strategic part is actually, so it gives the game more interactive features, more, how do I say? You get involved more because you get to know the characters a lot.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. You get this emotional attachment to your units the longer that you play.
Oo nga.
Delikado.
Parang like how we get emotionally attached to our cars in SnowRunner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oo nga, yeah.
Except yan, they talk and some of them are waifu tier. So, yeah.
Oo. Why?
Franco, ito ba yung this Fire Emblem? Is this the one na parang may permadeath with certain characters?
Pwede
And
mo
the
rin
story changes?
Correct, meron. So this,
Oh, okay.
but you can turn it off, which I like a lot because I don't like permadeath. So you can, I know you can turn off that part. So
Okay. Okay.
it's not like Breath of the Wild where when your weapon breaks, like what do I do?
Yan. Pero oo nga, sa older Fire Emblem games, no? Ganoon din, permadeath talaga yung signature niya, no?
Oh, I don't think naging option yung non-permadeath mode until it came out on the 3DS.
Yeah.
Doon lang yata sila naging lenient eh. Before
Oo
that, okay, yeah, let's give you a bunch of redundant characters kasi umamatay yung mga yun eh.
Yeah, oo nga. Tsaka maganda rin yung, well, medyo spoiler, pero yung parang undo or time, yung parang time travel ka. So you can go back a few steps.
Yeah. There's
So
an undo feature.
yeah. So it's kind of nice they have that thing then for
Okay.
yung mga casuals like me who lean on it.
Delikado to. Akala ko immune ako. Kasi Ghosts, I'm immune to it because I don't have a PS4. But since I have a Switch, wala. Bibili na
yeah.
ako.
You have
Salamat, Franco.
no excuse.
Yan.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay. Sige. Sige, Jed, ikaw, what have you been playing?
I don't know why I've been doing this, but I've been playing Dirt Rally.
Yes.
Dirt
Thank
Rally.
you.
I installed Dirt Rally, tapos nakita mo, James. Tapos
Mhm.
dinemonyo mo ako na, hey, Dirt Rally
Mm.
2.0 is on sale. So I looked
Yan,
at the
tama.
store page, nakita ko there are 4 hours left in the sale.
Yan.
So pinili ko. And now I'm playing Dirt Rally 2.0. And
Yes.
wow, grabe. It's such an ordeal to play. That na-describe ko na to dati na it's like being stuck on a Dark Souls boss. Now, you've
Mm.
experienced it once, so you have an idea how hard it is. And it
Mm.
stays in your mind na, grabe, nag-fail ako doon. How do I get better to finally beat this challenge? And while you're
Mm.
thinking about it, you're dreading actually sitting down and playing it and attempting it again. But while you're playing it, ang saya niya. You feel really good while playing it, and then you cross the finish line and wow, exhausted ka. You look at your times, you didn't do as well as you thought you might have done. And then
Mhm.
you start thinking again about how you can do even better. And then you start dreading it again. Yan yung feeling ko lagi na, shit, kailangan ko na naman maglaro ng Dirt Rally kasi my time is not good enough.
Yan.
And yan, medyo vicious cycle siya para
Pero
sa
pero nakaka-addict eh, no? For some reason na yun, like you described na after doing it, parang gusto mo ulit gawin eh.
Oh, yun, exactly eh. Yeah, I'm replaying all the crap I did, yung mga
Yeah.
mali, all the times I screwed up. And I know I can do better, but thinking
Yan.
about sitting down and doing it again
Uh,
more perfectly than last time, like I have to ask myself, posible ba yun? Can I
yan.
be better than how I did last time? Eh, feeling ko dati, lahat 100% na yun eh. Binigay ko na lahat eh. How can I do better than that? So
Yeah.
yan, how do I get better? Nakakatakot.
Yeah. You
Literally.
you now understand my actually ganun din feelings ko when I play iRacing eh. It's like like you said, I gave it 100%, but hindi ko pa mababa yung ipababa pa yung times ko by like even a second. Hindi ko na ma-squeeze out yung or shave off that 1 second that I want to shave off.
Yeah. Oh,
Yan.
exactly. Hanapin mo pa.
Oh,
Where can you
ayun.
shave off that second? Well, it's that same dread, like yun nga, parang Dark Souls or, wow, we're talking about esports. So parang Street Fighter dati when I want to play online. Ganun din dread.
Ganun.
Nagkakalabanan ng mga tao. Shit.
Yeah. Pero masaya. I like itong Dirt Rally 2 at least. May parang yan yung friend na you can compete with your friends sa leaderboards. You can like change the filters, no? Hayaan mo na lang the world. Parang if you have like a friend or even a bunch of friends, pwede kayo magpabilisan sa time trial. Yun. Sobrang ako na-obsess kagabi trying to beat your time, Jed. Na,
Ano mo nga, grabe. How am I going to 6 seconds?
yeah.
Wala na. It's impossible.
Meron pa yan. Meron pa yan. Lots of room to improve. Okay lang yan. The more you do, actually, itong Dirt, I bought it nung launch, which was early last year. And then I tried it. Pero sobrang na-frustrate kasi, I guess kasi my racing fundamentals then wasn't that solid when I tried it. I think around that time, medyo I was slightly into iRacing but not that obsessed yet. Then, when I got back into it, hindi naman sa nagyayabang, pero with a more solid foundation on racing and looking at the proper racing lines and whatnot, naka-adapt ako agad on to race on dirt, basically.
Okay.
Tapos, yun, medyo na-understand ko na rin yung weight transfer, especially with different drivetrains, the front wheel drives and whatnot. Ayun, masaya siya, masaya. I like it. Now I really like it more.
It takes a lot. It takes a lot of what am I thinking of? It takes a lot of
Focus.
patience, I guess.
Patience, tama.
Yeah.
Oo nga.
It takes a lot of dedication. Kailangan matutunan. Medyo hardcore siya na sim compared to the other dirt games eh. Like the previous dirt games are pretty casual. There's a rewind button. Most of the tracks are done in 3 minutes or so. Yung pinaglalabanan natin last night, it goes on for 8 minutes.
Yes.
So,
So,
around the 4-minute mark, kinakabahan na ako na if I screw up once, I lose all of those 4 minutes. Sayang na. But anyway, yun, Dirt Rally.
Oo nga. Oo nga, after every time I play nga, pinapawisan nga din ako eh.
Oo, yan, parang Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Isipin mo lang, what about real race drivers, diba? I mean, they actually do this. Driving the
Tapos,
car.
kinakabahan, tapos buwis buhay.
Oo nga. Kasi maling maling turn mo or maling cut mo, you risk your car flipping over or falling over the cliff. So, ayun. Literal, buwis buhay.
So, I've been playing that. I've also been playing Collection of Mana on the Switch. Para naman ma-fulfill ang aking old school cravings. You guys know Secret of Mana, di ba?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been playing that again. Never finished it back in the day. Nahiram ko lang yata from my classmate. And then I never finished it. So, yan, bumabawi lang ako ngayon. I'm like 3 hours
Yung
in.
sila, diba? Randy, Popoy.
Oo. Maliit.
Popoy.
Yeah, si Popoy.
Yeah, Popoy. Si Popoy. That's right.
Yun talaga pangalan, Popoy.
Oo yun yata yung default name niya, diba?
Pangit.
Pinahita ko yung
Popoy.
pangalan eh. Pinangalanan ko sa aso ko eh.
Ang pangit.
But yeah, it was a notable game, no? Kasi you can play it co-op with 3 players.
Yeah.
And it's an action RPG. So it looks like something like Chrono Trigger pero real time siya. You get to run around and bash monsters. And lots of nice little touches. Like yung pagbubukas siya ng treasure chest, instead of just opening it, you lift it and slam it to the ground. Tapos bubukas yung chest. Or the
Fun talaga.
Yeah.
Realistic, diba?
Physics. And the fast travel where you get into a cannon and then they shoot you.
Yeah.
Yung Cannon Brothers. Ayun, maybe by next week I'll be done. And I'll start with the 3rd game.
Wait, the newest one is the 4th game na ba? The one that just came out.
Oh, it's a remake of the 3rd one.
Okay.
So are you gonna? So when you play, will you play the remake or will you play the one on the Collection of Mana?
I think I'll play the collection one. Parang mas feel ko eh na malaro how it was originally done.
And these games, are they ano ba? Parang Final Fantasy ba yan na you don't have to play in order or are they connected?
I don't think so. Kasi there's a first game, but it was on the Game Boy and it looks really old. Medyo nawalan ako ng gana. And I started with Secret of Mana. And I don't think I missed anything. Siguro thematically may relation, but plot-wise, I don't think so.
Okay. Ayun. Sige. Okay, ako naman. Heto na, my time to rant about Red Dead Redemption 2.
Ayaw mo?
Ayoko, I just finished it. Well, narinig nyo na sa chat, no? Pero it was
bagal, no?
sobrang bagal. It's such a slug to play. Everything was just slow. Literally moves slow. Your character moves slow. Your horse moves slow. You need to go. It places so far away, and you have to ride your horse going there. Pero the story was actually not so bad. Ang tagal lang bago ma-set yung hooks. Ma-set in yung hook sa akin story-wise. Siguro mga almost 20 hours in bago yan you feel the plot of the story starting to show itself.
Actually nga, I started playing it when it came out. And up to the point where I stopped, di ko pa rin alam what was going on. It meanders.
Yeah. Oo
Well,
nga, no? It feels
diba?
like a slice of life ng Wild West. Pero wala talagang kwento.
Parang ganun.
Oh. Tapos parang sa huli na lang talaga, they shoved everything in na, ito na yung kwento. Tapos, ang bilis na nangyayari. And, well, yun, unfortunately, ang dami din nangyayari na kung ano-ano na they have to steal the train, they have to go to this person, and then, yan, magpabarilan. Tapos medyo naging repetitive na ng konti na alam mo na how the story will unfold because yan you know they're a bunch of thieves, con men, and yan towards the end of the chapter alam mo na okay there's like this one big thing na mangyayari na sobrang gulo at barilan lang. Yun, and then it just basically extends further on to each chapter. There are 6 chapters all in all, and then you have 2-part prologue. Epilogues that you have to play.
2-part epilogue?
Oo, 2-part epilogue. Pero may ikli lang siya.
Okay.
Pero yun.
Do you think it seems slow because my understanding is Red Dead 2 is like a sequel to 1?
Yeah.
Did that parang contribute to the feeling of slowness na parang you know what's going to happen in the end, so on and so on?
Hindi naman. I think it's just because a lot of things are, well, some of the game design is meant to be slow na, like for example, you have to go and eat, and then eating, parang in some games, diba, you just consume the item, then tapos na. Ito, when you eat, yan, you literally have to get it from the pot. Isuscoop niya 3 times, and then you have to press R2.
Hanapin mo pa. Diba?
Oh, hanapin mo pa, then you scoop it, and then you eat it by pressing R2 3 times.
Pwede ka pa maghanap ng spot, pwede ka umupo muna.
Yan. Pwede ka makipagkwentuhan habang kumakain.
Parang for me, like if they fixed siguro like 3 things, the game would be a lot better. First of all, if they fixed your mount not dying, that's the first. Number 2, if they fixed fast travel. And then parang make it more like kahit Witcher or Horizon Zero Dawn. Para you get to places faster.
Yeah.
And then maybe the third would be hindi ko type yung gunplay masyado. Except for the slow-mo. Yung slow-mo, I keep using it. Parang, there was a point kasi in the game where, sige, let's get the best mount, the white horse from the from the snow area.
Yeah.
Syempre, it took me so many tries. Tapos, I got attacked by a bear in the middle of the thing. Parang, oh my God, mga ads while you're like, so funny. Next thing you know, parang syempre, you're just, when I finally got to tame it, and syempre diba yung saddle meant, the whole thing about the saddle, you have to get the saddle from the old horse, put it in the new horse.
Yeah.
Parang, it's so hassle. Then you have to tie the old horse back to, ganun.
Oh,
diba?
ang daming yan eh. Ang daming game designs that are meant to really slow you down eh.
So ngayon, when I was riding the horse na back to the camp, parang may alanganin na area na yung 45-degree angle. Siyempre, so nahulog yung horse. It died. Oh shit! I have to wait for it to respawn again as a wild horse, and I have to tame it again.
Ay, naku.
Grabe.
Oh my God, seriously?
Yeah, so yung alam mo yun. So like in the whole riding the horse to get to this area that's like halfway across the map. Just for a cutscene, then you have to ride again the horse to the actual objective.
Tama.
In the game pala, you can only fast travel back to your camp, right?
Actually, you can upgrade. You can upgrade your camp. Hindi, not stagecoach, iba pa yun. You can upgrade your camp to by fast travel.
Yeah, to fast travel. That's right. I got to that point but then parang after that, uninstall ko na.
Sayang. Maganda pa naman. I mean, for me kasi, my only motivation to finish the game was I just finished the first one, so I just wanted to see how it kind of ties into the how the second game ties into the first game, which yun. Kasi 'di ba the Red Dead Redemption 2 is a prequel of the first one. So yun lang motivations ko.
Okay.
Hey,
Out,
yeah.
uh, out of the three comments that were made, all three of those in Ghost of Tsushima, there's easy fast travel. Your mount never dies. Actually, you get quite attached to your mount. And third, the gunplay, which is like the arrow gunplay, and Ghost of Tsushima is actually quite good.
Oh,
So
no!
Yeah.
Wala akong
Tol!
PlayStation.
Kaya lang wala akong
Yeah.
PlayStation.
Wala rin akong
Punta na ako sa PSN
PlayStation.
store. Ito na, ito na.
Yan. Pakibili na.
Ah,
Pero
no.
making that comparison though, actually straight off from playing Red Dead, then I jumped into Ghost of Tsushima. Ayan kita mo all the modern game design stuff nandyan. It's really respectful of your time, fast traveling, may mga subtle hints na you can follow to get more stuff or unlock stuff. Ayun, for me, it's a really, sana more games strive to be like that a little bit.
I remember in one of the preview videos, ni-reference pa nila yung Red Dead. Na, kasi in Ghost of Tsushima, you can gather materials just by riding near them. And you
Yun, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And one of the developers said that if this were Red Dead Redemption 2, you would get off the horse and
Tama.
walk over,
Pick it
Tama,
pick it
tama.
up, put it in your pocket.
Yes, yun. Na
And then
nagulat nga
just-
ako.
Oh my God.
Nagulat nga ako, uy, pwede pala to. You can, like, pick up things from your horse.
No, galing.
Oh, yun, mga ganun na systems.
I was telling James, best game of this generation.
Yan. Pakibili na. Jet.
Endorsed. Ito na. Nasa
review.
PSN na ako.
Click buy.
May chance na mag-PC version yan in 2 years, no? Feeling.
But,
Horizon made it.
Yeah, Horizon made it.
oo nga,
diba?
ewan ko, hindi ko nga makita yung like, why did they pick Horizon out of all the exclusives? Parang it wasn't a game naman that didn't sell well.
Yeah,
And,
couldn't say.
diba? I felt it was just easiest to port na game. Ewan ko lang.
Hindi ko rin masabi.
Yun. Speculation.
Yes.
Pero yun, real quick, another game I've been playing was Trails of Cold Steel. It's one of those old JRPG
The
games.
Weeb game.
Yes, super Persona, super yan, parang Fire Emblem din. You can cook food, and pag pinakain mo sa tao na yan, mas gusto niya over the other person. Pero yun, halatang highly inspired from Persona, except the combat system is I feel a little bit better just because may konting positioning that you can do. May mga parang Persona din, may link attacks, mga ganun. Pero nagustuhan ko yung combat. A little deeper than
The combat is traditional JRPG. Hindi siya like a tactics thing.
Parang pinaka-tactics na lang niya is you can move around the one single plane. Tapos kasi minsan yung kalaban pag magma-magic siya, it will spend one turn just to cast it. So parang binubuelo niya. Tapos you can see on the floor kung saan ka matatamaan. So you can actively move out, and you can spend your turn and just move out from that area.
Oh, it sounds good.
Not bad siya. Parang a little hybrid of
Anong
tactics.
platforms niya?
Nice.
Meron sa PC, Rico.
Hindi. Kasi interesado ako sa Fire Emblem. Sige.
Okay.
Yun na ako.
Ayan,
Puta
sige.
na puta.
Pero ako personally, I've been playing it on my Vita. I resurrected my Vita just to play this game.
This is, diba? This is up to part 4 now.
Meron.
Ang dami ng mga games.
Meron pa older na some say it's like required playing pa if you wanna really know the story. It's it's called the Legends of Heroes yata yung parang pinaka universe niya or yung pinaka main title. And then itong Trails of the Cold Steel is like the second half of the second like trilogy, no. Hindi na trilogy, it's like what, quadrilogy or whatever.
So itong apat na games na to, this is just the second chapter of this.
Parang ganun eh.
bigger
Oo,
thing.
tama.
Grabe.
Oh, and they're in the same like universe or like Earth or whatever. Pero in different time periods. So now it's like more of like the industrial Victorian age. Like comparing to the previous trilogy, it was more medieval fantasy naman.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yun ang thing niya. Hindi siya parang Final Fantasy.
Grabe, I'm looking at the list of games. Ang dami na. Like, this Trails of Cold Steel has 4.
Oh, yun.
It's this whole set is a sequel but to a previous set of RPG games.
Yeah. Yun. It's a whole series on itself. Unfortunately, 1 and 2 yata wala sa Switch. So I kind of want to play it on the Switch yung third one. Kaya nilalaro ko ngayon yung 1 sa Vita para matapos na.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Ayun. Sige, JV naman, what have you been playing?
Well, so Horizon Zero Dawn came out on PC. I've always been curious. Syempre, di ba? Exclusive title after a couple of years came out. I really like it because it's not Red Dead Redemption.
Sorry.
Big reason.
Yeah. No, kasi like, daming fast travel points, di ba?
Yeah.
You can pick up stuff. For me, the quality of life. Yung masama lang talaga yung launch niya sa PC. Daming bugs eh. So, it keeps crashing on certain systems. It's funny nga because on Reddit, if you check the crash logs, parang may conspiracy theory kasi in all of and siguro like 80% of people commenting, the game crashes in minute 44 of your clock. So funny. Parang whenever it reaches the parang 0044, super crash na. So when people were posting their crash logs, nakakatawa.
44.
Yun.
Wow,
Yeah, and then so parang the port wasn't so good. When you load the game for the first time, it's a 15-minute optimization. So, hassle. And then yun, hanggang ngayon dahil pa ring mga crashes even though they fixed some of the bugs. So like siguro after 15 minutes, 30 minutes, nagka-crash siya. So syempre if you're in a boss fight, it crashes. Wala. So there are many reasons daw because of Steam overlay, because of any overlay, because of your Nvidia something settings. So yun, ang dami nag-refund. So parang for me naman, I'm keeping it because I'm hopeful naman na. And I'm like 20 hours in eh. So ayun. Parang it's very repetitive for me. But I like the gunplay. I'm not sure. Have you guys played Horizon ever?
No, not yet.
Okay, so the basic premise lang is so basically parang high-tech caveman because they're like the world is the world na back in the past pero may mga machines. So that's the whole game is like why are there machines, 'di ba? You kind of have to figure out the whole conspiracy behind it. So each machine, ang galing ng ang galing ng the way it's designed, even the audio. So when you see a machine out there, parang be prepared for it. It's always almost like a mini boss fight all the time, unless you like evade it. And then I've never seen weapons like this before. Yung tipong, you know how like in games you have the shotgun, the rifle, then you have the sniper. But ito hindi. Yung guns mo tripwires. And then you have like it's called the rope caster. You can basically shoot ropes and pin so that you can pin the target to the ground.
Oh,
galing. So
so
the bigger the targets, you need more rope, diba? So galing. I really found that part very interesting. And then if you use it has that parang sa Batman yung predator view. You can see weak points in the armor, and then by shooting off certain areas of the armor, it helps with drops. So you can remove, let's say, the main panel, which exposes the heart, which you do slow mo and like target it, or you
Wow.
can, let's say, cause an explosion by destroying, let's say, the canisters that give it fuel. Galing nga eh. So each machine may mga ganyan. So parang as you keep playing, medyo na-memorize mo na yung yung how it works. So yeah, the gunplay and it really respects your time. Yun nga lang parang the crashing, that's an issue. And yeah, so I'm like 20 hours in. Siguro halfway through the game, I think, or
So
2/3.
you've experienced a lot of crashing during your
So yeah. So I've been trying all the solutions. Sometimes nawawala siya, then 2 hours later it comes back. Pero so when I play, sandali lang, siguro 45 minutes and then out na para or I end the game before a boss fight and then sige, wait na lang. Because then when that happens, syempre we start up Risk of Rain 2.
What a segue.
With Rico. What a segue.
Sige, ano na ba ang
maybe Rico can do the honors na lang.
Sige. So Risk of Rain, JV and I have been playing it a lot, multiplayer. It's a roguelike third-person shooter. I guess it's nice. Maganda yung sinabi mo, James, about it before. It's appealing because it gives you the chance to become OP, where you can literally dispatch waves of enemies right away. Diba, James, parang there's a point where you can get really powerful na you clear endless waves.
Yeah, it's like you're just standing there and then stuff happens.
And then but even if you're really strong, biglang if you're careless for a second, biglang patay ka.
Yeah, you get one shot.
You get one shot.
How'd that happen? And then you go back to the wiki and you're like, how did this happen to me?
Yeah, you'll research to min-max and all that, etc. So yeah, and
playing the game, diba? Parang it's how you unlock characters kasi.
yes,
The more you play, the more you unlock.
Yes, the more you play the game, the more you unlock stuff, whether it's characters, whether it's items, etc. So play Risk of Rain.
Have you guys unlocked all of the characters?
One more na lang for me.
One more?
Wow.
Same.
Iwan nyo na
We
kami,
need to do one more, right, Reeks?
Yeah, one more.
We have to unlock one more.
Parang
It's this crazy one where you have to bring this thing to like a level without getting hit, or else you die.
No, you can't go below 50% health.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what
or else you die.
we just did. Yesterday, Reeks? Was it?
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, so when you diba, you come out of the ship. If you go to the back panel of the ship, there's an item pala in the back. You can pick it up. That's your parang equipment. You should never go below 50 health. If not, you'll explode.
It'll explode and you die.
Yeah.
It's an unstable battery, parang ganun.
Wow.
Okay, wow.
And then you have to kind of pray to the RNG gods that you get to this particular stage. Yung parang hell.
Yes.
And then when you're there, yun. So Vico and I were like, we have to find the newt egg so we can choose the stage. Wala. So we were just, okay, hope we were there. Then buti na lang a stage appeared. Because if not, we'd have to loop the game again, diba? So it's
Yeah.
4 more stages.
Ang dami palang things, no? Yung mga like mga secret ways or like even the thing behind your ship na
Yeah.
Gulat na ako, binasa ko lang sa wiki. What? Are you serious? You have to do this?
I'm checking Rico's team achievements. It's like today the long road, complete 20 stages in a single run. That's the
And it took me parang 2 hours. It took me 2 hours playing straight.
grabe.
Commando, incorruptible. As Commando, clear 20 stages in a single run without any lunar items. Dami mong stuff.
Also, I discovered pala, James, a hidden room in the second stage. The one na mukhang desert.
Oh, it says here, discover the hidden chamber in the
Ayun yun.
abandoned aqueduct. So yeah, your achievement, 2:30 p.m. kanina.
Solid.
So parang ang daming secrets with game, no? You can do so
Yeah.
many things.
Yes.
No nga. And then you just, basically repeat.
Yung maganda nga, since it's roguelike, if you fail, you can just start. You can just try again. Diba?
Yeah. Mabilis ang pag-restart.
Oh, actually. Yan din talaga yung appeal for me. It's not like Red Dead where you have to spend hours doing stuff.
Imagine if it's like Red Dead, you open the chest. Like,
Oh my God.
cutscene where you're getting hit by the
The enemies.
Yeah.
Ay,
Kawawa naman si Red Dead.
Oo nga.
Nakit na ng todo-todo si Red.
Yeah. Built on the unpaid overtime of Rockstar employees.
yes.
Crunch mentality.
Yan.
Hustle.
Ay, nako. Sige. And, ayan, Rico, you've been still playing SnowRunner.
Yun. So,
Ano yan?
I don't know why the one who made the game can't seem to fix their netcode, even with my sucky connection. But yeah, since we stopped playing multiplayer sa SnowRunner, na-unleash na ako and I started finishing the missions on my own.
Na-unleash.
I like
the
that.
beast.
Unleash.
And then wala, same appeal pa rin. It's like the Dark Souls of driving sims. You get to finish all of these complicated tasks. Yeah, it's still the same appeal that we've all had for that game.
Oo nga.
I still can't believe I fell in love with that game. So yan yung, I mean, if I never got in touch with James, I would have never played this game ever.
Yan.
And I wouldn't be even interested in this game. So thanks again.
We're all connected somehow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Puri pa. Yan.
Rico bought it for me, so I started playing it. Then in turn, I bought Risk of Rain for Rico, diba?
Yeah.
Oh, so yan, diba?
Escape.
Oo nga.
Look at us now. Look at us.
I should like get the commission or something, from yan.
Dapat sponsored ka na yung podcast ko, diba?
Oo nga sabi ko kay Rico, bilhin tong SnowRunner, binili niya. Sabi ko kay Jed, bilhin tong Dirt Rally, binili din niya. Ay, nako.
Tabletop sim kanina.
Ayan,
Tabletop sim tayo sa'yo.
Tapos, you'll thank me afterwards, sana. Next episode, yun na yung sasabihin mo, James, thanks to you. Ang saya ng tabletop sim. Hey, pero yan, next week. This week pala tayo maglalaro.
Game, solitaire, ganun.
Hindi, ikaw naman. Mga board games naman. Like
Pandemic.
Speedrun. Sino mo una matatapos manalo?
Grabe. Ayoko na ganyan.
Gusto ng animation sa huli, yung cards gumaganon.
May key nga to flip the table. Like, literally flip the table. Tas lahat
You can.
Meron. Pero please don't do it.
Yeah.
Kasi you have to manually set everything by yourself.
Oh my God, okay.
Yeah, there's like a dedicated button for flipping the table. And you can lock it just in case.
Yan.
Kung ikaw yung host.
Yeah, for people like Rico and JV.
Parang gusto ko i-open yung game ngayon just to try it.
Flip the table.
It's like the space bar. Yung mga big buttons.
Oh, yeah.
Pati nga wala yata siyang hotkey or I hope it's not F or something. Alam ko na is the button on the screen.
Quick time event.
Or escape, no? Wait lang, guys.
Sorry.
Wait lang, guys.
Ay, nako. Eto na, nag-deviate na tayo. Sige, baka kailan. Let's go into the main topic.
Okay.
Na.
I'm excited.
So it's all about esports, like I said. And ito, saktong-sakto. We've got Franco, who's from Mineski, and Rico, I think, is one of the bigger esports fan amongst us, no? And
Well, I used to follow a lot of Dota too. So, like I really cheered when there was a Pinoy team that won hundreds of thousands of dollars during an international
100
event,
to
mga
50
ganun.
million.
Sorry?
It was I think 120 million. I think if I'm not mistaken.
But
Yeah.
$600,000, mga ganun.
Yeah.
Wow. Yan, daming pera talaga si esports. Pero ayan, I guess no, esports naturally it's all about competitive gaming. I just like to ask you guys, no, ano bang first taste of competitive gaming? As in real high level, well, di man high level, but like talagang you poured a lot of time into a game or games to be really competitive.
Battle City.
Battle City.
Battle
Oo.
City? Yeah, maybe, no?
Kasi,
Pero,
kasi nagre-rent ako ng, alam mo yung sa grocery, you can rent hours sa family com.
Mm-mm.
Yun, dun yung first competitive gaming experience ko, Battle City.
Nice.
I never really got to play that competitively. Mostly yung ano lang talaga, map editor. But yeah, I can imagine, Battle City.
Ay, naalala ko may pustahan nga kami dati, some kid, I don't remember his name. Kung sino na matatalo, siya yung babayad ng hour. Parang ganun.
Whoa, grabe.
Okay.
Parang 5
High stakes.
pesos up for grabs. Parang
High
ganun.
stakes, high stakes.
For
Okay.
me, my first taste of competitive gaming probably would be Mario Kart with my cousins.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, competitive na yun. Friend killing.
Yes, correct.
Which Mario Kart?
Oh, Super NES pa.
Nice.
The
Because
OG.
yeah,
Mm-mm.
we all so during the summers, my cousins, because we're all the same age, so we're either a year apart or 2 years apart. So every summer we would gather in the basement of the house, and then we would just play. Yeah, either if I'm not mistaken, NBA Live '95 or
Mhm.
yeah, or no, NBA Live, yes, correct, and Mario Kart. So it would be those two. We would alternate, spending time and competing against each other, and also some. I think there was this wrestling game, but I can't remember the title.
Wow, one of the wrestling games.
Oh, WWF games. No?
Yeah,
Yes.
no.
Yun. Ako naman actually medyo fairly recent. Dahil kay Jed, nag I really got into fighting games. To the point that Jed made me watch a series by a YouTuber called sino ba? The Completionist, no?
Is this the dojo thing?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
dojo.
si
Yeah.
completionist.
So basically, it him being a noob then on fighting games, he gets taught by someone who's very knowledgeable on competitive fighting games, and you go through the basics of ano ba, like the jabs and well, sorry, no, much more basic pa, yung mga frames, yung
Yan, frame data.
frame data, how your speed of attack matters when doing fighting game, your movement, your placement, and then you go into a little bit more technical, yung mga pokes, when to do special moves, etc., etc. Yun, pinanood ko lahat yan, and I really enjoyed
Yes.
the process to the point na yan, minsan sa office nag-fighting game tournament pa kami.
Oo nga.
Anong game? Street Fighter?
Both Street Fighter and Tekken.
Nice.
Oo. Tsaka, ayun, it actually passed on to why I like the iRacing or like sim racing for the longest time din. Is because there's a lot of similar aspects to it. Well, first of all, yung learning process. Ang dami mong papanoorin na videos before you get to play. I know it sounds weird. It's like going to school, pero for me, it's the process is enjoyable, and then when you get to learn, you try to apply what you learn, and then once you parang it's like a bulb that lights up. Once you get it, and then you finally understand, oh, okay, ito pala yun. And then, yun. You get to learn more complex stuff, and then it just repeats itself. The satisfaction repeats itself.
Certain games, no, the deeper your knowledge goes, the more you can appreciate watching it.
Tama.
Yeah, fighting games, racing games, especially yung mga MOBA na yan, because I don't understand them.
Ako rin.
So when I see a game of Dota being played, hindi ko maintindihan. What? Why are people cheering? Anong ginawa niya?
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand it. Kasi if you don't know the abilities they're using, you really won't understand how they're synergizing their play, why this play is so astig, kunwari, parang ganun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Na parang, yeah, it's gone.
No, yeah, I was gonna build on what you guys were saying. That the deeper your knowledge about the sports games, about the game, the more appreciation you have, which is mostly like what we have when we watch the NBA, the NFL, baseball, football. So you do know, like, you get excited about the past because it's so amazing. But yeah, so if you have a deeper knowledge of games, your appreciation of what you're watching gets up, basically.
Oh, it enhances, no?
Enhances, yes.
Actually, nga, it medyong yun din eh, nung, well, for racing, no, in motorsports, actually, never naman ako nanonood dati, but doing it sa iRacing, I get to appreciate na rin, not only watching the esports version, but also the real life version of the races. Na yan, like what the drivers do sometimes, na parang to some it's just parang ano ba yan, paulit-ulit lang na they just go in circles.
Nakita ko ng F1, paikot-ikot lang naman yung mga.
Lalo na yung NASCAR, kunwari.
Yeah, NASCAR.
It's just turning left. What's that about?
Nagkaroon ako ng appreciation din sa NASCAR after doing a bit of stock car na ang sobrang close ng racing na not like in the other disciplines na like a second, minsan habulan is 1 second or maybe half a millisecond. Ito sa NASCAR, yan, milliseconds lang talagang pinag-uusapan kasi they're all close together and they're trying not to wreck.
Yeah, okay.
Yan. Pero it is kind of boring to watch kasi yan, paikot-ikot lang. And then, ayun, not as exciting.
Yung nuances, I guess, you have to see.
Oo, yun, tama.
Beyond just turning left and going in a circle.
Yeah, exactly. Sige, ayun nga. So, we've been talking about watching esports. Ano ba ang genres na fina-follow nyo when it comes to esports?
Ako so far, MOBAs, maybe some CSGO, saka Tekken 7.
Anong Dota pa rin ba sa MOBA?
Yeah, Dota 2.
For me, I don't follow any MOBA, any esports or genres because I find it weird. I don't know. I think it's just my age to watch people play on streaming. I understand when there's a live audience, it's quite exciting. I attended the SEA Games and I was watching the Tekken. It was very exciting. But to watch on a streaming platform, it's actually very odd to watch someone else play. I don't know. I think it's just my age.
Yan, I feel I can empathize a bit na in general yung streaming in general, when people play, parang it's kind of weird to watch. Pero when it comes to esports naman, parang ang ganda na ng mga production values when they when they present the shows na, no? It's like watching, well, real sports, and I don't watch real sports as well often. But yun, there's certain appeal din naman when it comes to the event itself.
Nung when Overwatch League came out, we used to watch that.
Yeah.
No? Yun lang naman nasundan ko eh. Well, that and the fighting games.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Every year, yeah, pinapanood ko yung Evo. Mostly Street Fighter, and then I got into Tekken, and pati yung Smash. Sige, panoorin na rin natin.
Yung, yung Smash, actually, natutunan ko din yan medyong maging competitive. Okay. I mean, yan, again, it's like what we were saying na you have to learn the nuances to really appreciate
Yeah.
the game.
Amazingly, it's legit, ah. Yung Smash,
Oh,
pinapaliit ko lang yun eh. And then
oh,
I learned how to play the positioning and
yan.
ano yung, the ledge games.
Oh,
Yung
yan.
dapat sumabit ka and how you
Ibang
recover
klase.
from it. Oh, malalim din pala. And it's
Malalim.
exciting to watch once you know what's going on. Again, once you know what's going on.
And it's the most, no? In terms of fighting games, it's the most viewed parate, no? Pagdating sa
So,
Evo.
Up until last year, yeah.
Tsaka, I think I read somewhere it was also broadcasted sa ESPN 2 or
Yung
one
Smash?
or one of the sub channel or sub brands ng ESPN.
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
The Ocho.
Yung Ocho ba talaga?
Hindi, galing yun sa movie, di ba? Galing yun. Anong movie ulit yun? Dodgeball?
Kasi may ESPN, ano ba? DOS ba yung 2 nila? Parang tawag nila dun eh. Ewan ko.
Hindi ko alam eh. Hindi ko alam.
Hindi ko rin alam eh. Pero yun, na-televised siya. Ako naman yun, fairly recent din. I've been following a lot of racing naman, not just the real events, also in sa iRacing specifically. When they have the big events, yeah, especially yung mga mostly I follow yung mga endurance racing, like pag sa Daytona or sa Le Mans, yan minsan pinapanood ko. Yung di lang exciting sa iRacing, it's not like the fighting games or the MOBAs na it gets exciting real quick. Na there are certain portions na okay, somebody's about to win and it gets really exciting. Sa racing naman, it's just wala. You see if how long can this team like endure the race, if they can hold the position, if they don't crash or whatever. Kaya not as exciting to watch, pero in a technical point of view, mas very interesting naman.
You watch it for the duration, like from the start to the end?
I usually watch the the very beginning, the green flag, and then if I can, I watch as long as I can. Tapos I try to watch the end, mga final hour or final 30 minutes of the race.
Sorry, yeah, go on, Jed, sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say na pagpatapos na it gets exciting. Like the last half.
Again, minsan it gets exciting depende sa lead. Minsan sobrang layo yung lead na alam mo na sure win na. Minsan it does get exciting. Some of the I guess yung mga positions who are fighting for top 10, doon na yung nagkahagit-gitan. So medyo naging exciting din.
That reminds me, James, kasi in most esports, you actually have access to how the player actually plays. Like for example, if you're watching Counter Strike, you can watch a replay and then you can see all of the inputs of the player, like what he pressed, when he moved the mouse, etc. Can you do that also in iRacing and use that to improve your technique? For example, like you see the acceleration, the brake level, etc.
Yeah, basically that's called telemetry data, no? The inputs of the steering, the pedal inputs, and etc. I don't think it is. Unfortunately, it's not available openly. You can send the replay that will contain all that data, pero you need to talk to that driver na for him to send it to you. Hindi siya stored in a server or anything like that.
Okay.
Ayun. Ayun. Ikaw, Jed, do you still... Sayang, walang Evo yata for this year, no?
Yeah, for many different reasons. At hindi lang yung pandemic, walang Evo.
Oo
But
nga.
the Capcom Pro Tour is still going on.
Oo nga. Online pa lang, no?
They did it online. Yung Tekken, I think nag-cancel because
Ay.
of the pandemic. Pero yung Street Fighter, tinuloy nila, and they ran into some problems actually because of the netcode. Some of the competitors had less than ideal connections. Meron nga isang I forgot kung sino yun sa States na napakwit tuloy yung isang player kasi pag kinakalaban daw niya tong isang guy, sobrang sama raw talaga ng lag. So, umalis na lang siya. And well, that's gonna happen.
Pati siya apektado. I mean, him having a good connection.
Umabot yata siya sa top 8 and then he got matched up with this guy with a terrible connection. And, sige na, ayoko na. I'm out. Yeah.
Yun pala
It's still going on. Yung Capcom Pro Tour, I think they just started the second season. May bago silang ginagawa ngayon where they split the year into 2 seasons.
Okay.
So, at the end of June or July, I forget. That was the end of season 1, and then pag i-reset yung points nila, it starts again. And then, as usual, you have the big tournament at the end of the year. Or who knows what's gonna happen now. Maybe next year na lang, I don't know. But they're still doing it.
It's interesting you mentioned that, Jed, yung connection. Kasi sa Tekken, parang there's like to etiquette. If you're playing King, and then pangit yung connection, hindi ka mag-chain throws. Kasi your opponent won't be able to break them. Kasi di ba may 50-50 din yung sequence sa chain throws niya.
Oo.
So, kung pangit yung connection, you're not supposed to use chain throws kasi yun nga, walang chance for the opponent to break them. Parang ganun.
Wow.
But that puts you in a very unfortunate situation, especially if it's a game where you're playing to win. Na kailangan mo ngayon i-limit yung sarili mo just because of this connection problem.
I think it only applies sa casual, pero I'm not sure how it applies sa actual, sa actual tournament play.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine na sitwasyon na gano'n, and we have to obey these unspoken rules because wala, ganun eh.
Oo nga.
So, parang all or nothing na lang. You play or you don't.
Yeah, maybe they should apply yung what they're doing in the NBA now, where they all stay in one bubble. So
that is interesting. Lahat sila nandun, no? Sobrang tight nung security. Grabe. That's one way of doing it.
Hirap nun.
Yeah, because you can't risk internet connection being cut. Like having different internet connections, so the platform is not equal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May added challenge lang dito. You have people from all over the world.
Correct.
Coming in. Yeah, but that is the final way to do it for sure. Na kung kailangan talagang mangyari, do it live. Put everyone in the bubble.
Baka nga tong mga next generation na fighting games, medyo they'll have to consider like a really good netcode into their development na. In case, I mean, this thing naman, tong pandemic's not gonna go away like super soon. And who knows, baka maulit. Kasi nangyari na So, knock on wood, sana hindi naman maulit. Pero may chance na mauulit na naman to.
Oo nga. They have to think about what if we need to do this online. And medyo frustrating din for the fans, especially sa Street Fighter ngayon. Kasi there's a better technology that already exists. Yung GGPO. And they're not using that in their game. Meron daw silang rollback, but it sucks. So sana, like if they had that technology,
yun na.
We would run into less problems. Baka hindi na mangyayari itong mga bagay na to. Pero you're right, baka next year, siseryosohin na nila yung mga ganyan.
Sana nga. Kasi itong actually sa iRacing nga even though I have a ping of 300, minsan skirting to almost 350. Okay naman, swabe pa naman yung race, especially when there's cars nearby. Hindi naman ako na
Saan yung servers nila, James?
they're located in the US sa sa east side. Kaya mas
Ay,
mataas
wow,
ang ping.
layo.
Oo, sa
Layo
Boston.
nun,
Ang
Sa
layo.
Boston.
It's on the opposite side
Yeah.
of the planet.
So when I joined the special events, we have about like close to 450 plus cars, and then running 24 hours. Of course, not me running 24 hours. Pero when I get there, okay lang, suabe. Whatever I see, where the cars are, hindi man ako na nakiklik or anything by delay or by lag.
Galing, ha?
So kaya naman eh, kaya naman. Sana itong fighting games kaya din.
Sana.
Hey, ayan. Sige, let's bring it down to bring it back pala to a more local setting. So, kamusta ba ang local esports scene natin? Baka si Franco has more to say on this.
Yeah, it's actually very strong. So right now, MET, for example, they're running 2 tournaments right now. One is the PPGL, which is the Philippine Pro Gaming League. The other one would be the youth esports program, and that's very interesting because we're approaching universities right now. So right now, the youth esports leagues is tied up with 100 over universities in the hopes of So we're teaching, we're teaching kids how to get into the esports scene, but getting into the esports scene meaning it doesn't have to be you have to be a player, because if you do esports, it's a whole ecosystem of different roles and responsibilities. Take, for example, you have the shoutcasters. You could be part of broadcast. You could be part of creative. You could be part of behind the scenes. So it's a whole ecosystem that we're trying to teach children and the schools that gaming is not a dead end. It's actually it could build a future for your children if you
Nice.
open your minds to it.
Oo nga, esports kasi parang ayun na nagiging industry na of its own no. Tama ka, it's not just the athletes or the players, but it's some of the logistics behind it, the shoutcasting.
I can confirm pala if the commentator of an esports game is really good, lalong ma-hype yung audience. So, importante nga yun talaga.
Correct, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Pero are you guys trying to build a collegiate league then, like a UAAP for
Yes,
for esports?
correct. This was published months back. So we went into partnerships with PCCL. So PCCL is very much like the UANP and NCAA. So it's just another body for student activity regarding to sports. So it's going to be called the NICL, which is the National Intercollegiate League, if I'm not mistaken. Where we're going to have so all of these 100 schools, then they're going to participate in different tournaments for Tekken, for fighting, for MOBAs, for Battle Royale. We're all creating a whole tournament for them to determine who's the champion in MOBAs, who's the champion in these fighting games. It's actually very exciting. It was supposed to launch around this time, but to the pandemic, it was pushed to next year.
Ayun. At least may plans na, no?
Yes, correct.
To have it, no?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
that's cool.
a big part of that is we want to educate because if we compare it to basketball, a basketball player has been conditioned since he was a young boy to compete, to take on pressures, to how to respond to media. That's done when you're young. So we want to do that the same with esports. So we want to go back to the grassroots and educate these future esports players that how to cope with pressure, how to balance your work and your work and athlete life. So that's the real purpose of the NICL. It's just to get some traction in the grassroots and basically try to have a system for the youth so that when they go become professional, they know more or less what to expect and how to handle these said pressures.
O yan, GV. Handa mo na yung mga anak mo. Fortnite Pro.
Fortnite,
Fortnite na
oh.
sila.
Oh.
7 years old, Fortniting.
Laki ng premyo din ng Fortnite, 'di ba? Yung
Marunong na mag-floss yung anak mo, JP.
yeah.
Ay, nako.
Ayos lang yan. Just think of the money that they will earn for you and for
Oh,
themselves.
retirement pay. Retirement.
Oh,
It's my retirement plan.
yeah. Oh,
Fortnite.
Fortnite Pro. Pero yun sayang lang. Well, understandably din, yung local scene natin, wala masyadong racing sims or yan, for esports, racing games.
Correct.
There are some notable guys out there, pero yun, it's not as popular as MOBAs or fighting games. I think just because that the hardware involved is yun, you have to buy a wheel and everything to be fairly competitive on these games.
Malaki yung barrier to entry
Oo
compared
nga.
to these other games.
Tama.
It's funny nga eh. Parang it's sort of like real life. Like anyone, a lot of people here get into basketball because it's really accessible. But a lot of people also don't race because they can't afford it.
Wala
For
kang
example.
access to like a
Oh.
sports car or a rally
Oh,
car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Pero it yun sa may kaya din, parang nagiging na rin parang it's also a way for you to start your racing career then if you want to do real racing. So, yan,
Okay.
because of the sims now, how realistic they are. Nagiging na rin siya, parang platform for scouting and yan, just to gain experience and everything. Kasi dati, traditionally, parang you have to start go-kart eh. Ngayon, parang pwede ka na mag-start, yan, racing sim ka na lang. Tapos, move up to real cars na lang kung may sponsors ka na or whatever.
Franco, I have a question. Parang, actually, it's what, jumping off what Rico said, na there's really a barrier, di ba, to entry.
Mm-hmm.
Tapos pag racing sim, you need certain equipment, di ba?
Correct.
You think sa Philippines, because of mobile phones, the MOBA is now on mobile, di ba? So,
Yes.
has that helped?
A lot.
In it? Okay.
Yeah. So, if you check out any like research sites, I think Southeast Asia is the biggest adopter for mobile gaming because each person would be holding a mobile phone. So that's why the number one game, MOBA, right now I guess in the Philippines, I can't speak for Southeast Asia, would be Mobile Legends because everyone has access to a mobile phone and they can just play Mobile Legends. And so
Tama si Blizzard. Have you no phones?
Yeah. Pero
Indicated.
nga, it's quite fascinating to see, no, na well before when we were able to go out pa, you can see every like Joe or whatever just sitting around playing ML. And yan, nakalaro sila ng online game on their cell phone outside of their house.
So Franco, yung recruitment, is it now not the internet cafe? It's now just people who rank on mobile, I guess, right?
that's
Parang
correct.
sino tong player na to, 'di ba? Parang syempre they'll see the rankings, 'di ba? And then that's how they get scouted, not the cafes, not the
Basically how these so basically it's like how to start a team in the Philippines or the local esports scene. You need to have basically a team. And then for you to join these tournaments, you need to have a certain number of points for you to actually join these tournaments. So let's say PPGL 2020, your team has to have the certain amount of Mobile Legends points in order for you to join a tournament. For you to get scouted as a young person, it's still sadly this is why we want to establish the youth esports leagues because it'll be easier for these kids to be scouted. But for now, it would be a manager spotting your skill at a local internet cafe, or you being talked about and this person being hired to the team. being part of the team. So that's how scouting would go here at the local esports.
Interesting. How old are these kids when you're
Very
scouted?
very young. If I'm not mistaken, 16 to probably 20 years old. But yeah, so this is what I was saying earlier, that these kids are not ready for the pressures that they're about to start. So they just know, okay, I'm gonna go play Mobile Legends, but they don't understand that if you're a professional athlete, you need to play this game 8 hours a day. So your passion would be, drained out because you're playing this game for 8 hours and it becomes work instead of fun. Well, that's from my point of view.
Okay.
But
It is.
Madaming ganun na players who get disheartened or disillusioned.
I would think so. Yes.
Oh, okay. Interesting, ah.
Yun
Yung
pala.
yung how do they get sorry, my question is like from the business perspective kasi like syempre who ends up sponsoring like these kids are there kasi when I mean look at the PBA, look at diba you have all of these mainstream brands already eh. Like locally naman you don't have Landmark sponsoring, 'di ba?
Landmark.
Or ano, 'di ba?
Rain and shine.
'Di ba? 'Di
Correct.
ba? Ansons.
Yeah. So what would be funny is that the ones sponsoring these local teams are the internet cafes as well. So that's how the Mineski Infinity Cafe started, where Ronald Robbins would organize, his friends would organize tournaments within a cafe. So it started from there. So MET, Met Philippines, would have our own team, Mineski. TNC, who's another internet cafe, would have their own team. Actually, even STI has their own team, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
okay.
Mhm. So it would be here and there, and then you would have sponsors. So let's say Bren Esports. So there was the owners. He really loves esports, so he formed his own team.
Okay. You think there's a tip? Parang have we reached that tipping point or not yet? Yung parang from henceforth, it's going to just get bigger and bigger and bigger because you have all of these bigger brands that are sponsoring. You get TV coverage, that sort of thing. Like I know we have the conventions na in SMX, 'di ba? Every year.
Mhm.
And then you have sina Acer, Asus, Predator, 'di ba? They're all like into it. Pero it's like for me kasi when I see mainstream, I mean like you're gonna see it in the news eh. Like you see it on TV Patrol na itong team tapos naging household name na siya. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like basketball, like the PBA.
Yeah, it was getting there. Before the pandemic, MPL was part of. I think MPL was televised by ABS-CBN, Sports in Action. So there weren't any tournaments going on. Like I think everything was stopped because of the pandemic, and then they aired MPL season 5, and it got an amazing response. And actually, just I think last week we had 500,000 concurrent views on the grand finals of NPL. So it's getting there. Hopefully, we get picked up by. I mean, there would be an ESPN2 that would stream esports all day, because it is very exciting and it is growing. And it is slated to be one of the biggest sports in terms of revenue in the US. I think in terms of eyeball views, it overtook the NBA Finals. It was the Cavaliers versus the Golden State Warriors, and kasabay niya yung League of Legends na finals. I think there were more eyeballs on the League of Legends rather than the NBA Finals. But here I think it's still in its nascent stages.
So there's really we're getting there.
Getting there.
If anything naman, Pilipinas naman gaya-gaya naman sa US eh. So if anything, I'm sure magka-catch up din tayo.
Yeah, it just needs the proper push from, I guess it would have to start in the university, and then probably once there's a proper league, I think NCAA will start adopting their own esports league as well soon.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have heard talks. And
Pag
once that,
NCAA
yeah,
and UAAP, parang mayroon silang sariling esports league that would be
legit na yan.
legit.
legit, yes, correct. And that would transcend to the professionals na.
Oo, tama.
So
Galing.
parang sa future, hindi na yung basketball athlete yung stereotypical chick magnet, yung mga naglalaro na ng esports.
Yan.
Yeah, yung future.
Tapos yung goal is to have 'di ba yung packaging ng Milo imbis na swimmer, may guy na
Hawak na niya keyboard tsaka mouse.
Oo
Yun na yun.
May keyboard, naka-headset.
Shit, oo nga.
Wow.
We're laughing now, pero malay natin, 10 years from now, di ba?
Sooner than that, naniniwala ako, I want to believe.
Ay, meron na nga, di ba, yung ang dami ng mga nutritional products geared towards esports, like yung G Fuel, the Gamer
Nutritional
Fuel.
Nutritional
products?
quote.
Diba yan,
Nutritional.
you drink it,
Oh,
yung mga energy drinks, minsan meron
energy drinks.
meron din for ice eh. Basically it's more lutein in some other vitamins.
Oh,
Pero
really?
they branded it as like gamer something, gamer site
I
or
have
whatever.
heard about that.
Gamer juice.
Gamer juice. G
Oh,
Fuel.
may ganun na.
Red Bull.
Actually, what's amazing too is that, if I'm not mistaken, Puma created shoes for gaming.
Shoes.
Yeah, it transcended already to these athletic brands.
Kailangan ko na.
Yeah. Alam mo, mga Amerikano lang naman sumusot ng sapatos sa loob ng bahay.
Oh,
Why would-
kahit nasa
diba?
kaka sila.
Oh, why would you wear shoes while playing your video games?
Oh, it's...
Yeah. I understand.
Ang ganda ng design niya. I just shared the link with you guys with the shoe. Ang ganda ng design niya. Parang
Okay.
palabas din siya.
I never would have
Gaming.
expected. Pero wow, it's gonna sell.
Okay,
designed
sige.
for indoor and in arena use.
What?
Yeah.
Astig ah.
Welcome to the world
Pero,
video.
pero si Puma yata meron din siyang shoes for for sim racing. Yep,
Yan
sila.
pala eh.
At least you use your feet.
Oo nga, sa bagay. Oo. Ay.
Cool.
Sige,
Interesting.
going back on. Well, actually, tinamaan niyo na yung mga ibang points sa topic natin. So, let's continue na rin. How is it, ayun, we're trying to discuss na rin the legitimization of esports in mainstream media. I think yun lang, it needs to reach that tipping point na makover ng mainstream media like the local channels to actually broadcast the competitions. Pero ito, 'di ba sa SEA Games we had it's an actual sport considered na.
Yes.
Wasn't that also a push for the legitimization?
Yes. So the concept of this is that the SEA Games featured esports, and this is the jumping point for the Olympics to have esports. So yes, you're correct. It's really getting there, and you can see the excitement when you go inside the. I think it was the stadium in San Juan where we watched the SEA Games esports. The response was amazing. The energy of the audience was quite strong. It was really exciting.
Ayun. Are they still seriously considering esports for the Olympics din ba? I read something about it pero hindi ko lang alam if there was any follow through on it.
I would hope so. Because if you would see these esports competitors, ano talaga sila, they're athletes talaga because they live and breathe doing this professionally for 8 hours a day. They would have their own this is in the US. They would have their own PT, physical therapist. They would have their own nutritionists. Basically, they're really being treated as an athlete. And I really do hope, because there is a few. Well, me being a young gamer, I would have hoped that this would be my career path growing up, because I do love gaming, and competitive gaming is actually quite cool. So I really do hope that it does get legitimized in the Olympics. Once it does that, it's gonna be a real big push for and it gives Filipinos a chance to win an Olympic medal in the Olympics.
Adding to that, Franco, yeah, there's actually a huge misconception about esports athletes, being these fat geeks who play computer games. Pero as long as I've been following the esports games, I've noticed then kasi that they actually train physically, because their philosophy is if their body is not strong, their mind won't be sharp enough to perform at a high level as well. So
That's right.
like
Uh.
in some of these houses where the teams live together, they actually have gyms, they have physical therapists, nutritionists.
That's right.
So they actually make sure that their body is also physically, top level talaga.
And imagine just watching these people play, very, very physically taxing to consistently perform
Yeah, yeah.
at that level. Yeah.
Endurance yan, endurance. If you, diba? If you have physical endurance,
You also have mental endurance.
you'll have mental endurance.
Yes. So I really do hope because again, when you're competing on a digital platform, everything is equal. So it's just your mind, your speed, and your eye speed. That's all that matters for you is for you to win that gold medal. So
Yan.
we do have a chance to win a gold medal, and we're all hoping that once it gets there, I think Filipinos can compete on the international platform because we are quite good.
Kailangan lang ayusin yung internet, yun lang.
Walang physiology to hold us back.
Ayan.
Yun.
So
Yeah.
tayo ba, pag gumawa tayo ng team, may pag-asa pa ba tayo?
Masyado na tayong matanda siguro.
Tayo?
Wala na tayong eye speed.
Wala na pag-asa.
Wala tayong
Snow runner.
Snow runner, sige.
Snow runner. Sige na nga. Yan na lang. Sige.
Overloading.
Yung brain to finger action natin masyadong matagal.
Mabagal na. No?
Mabagal na.
Wala na tayong reflex.
Decision making.
Yan.
Overloading trucks.
Yan. Diyan kayo magaling eh.
Pero okay din yung reflexes sa ibang games. Like, some of these players can really anticipate their opponent. Now, when they cast the ability, as an example, let's say your opponent is trying to catch you and your entire team with an AoE ability, and then some of these players are so good that they can anticipate where that player will try to do the ability and then stun them parang split second after they appear, even though as in ang bilis ng reflexes na nila. So snow runner lang tayo talaga.
It's reflexes and knowing the game that well.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
The most amazing thing I saw was the Chun-Li and Ken.
Yes, classic.
Ano yun? Moment ano?
Si Justin Wong.
Moment 37. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Daigo and si what's his name?
Justin Wong.
Justin Wong. Tama.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Even to this day, rina-reference pa rin yung moment na yan.
Yeah.
Ay. I-add ko na rin din, no? Ito, sa racing part, no? Racing sims. Actually, big thing yung sa NASCAR. I know it's a snore fest, pero it was recently being broadcast, the NASCAR iRacing series, sponsored by Coke. Officially, it's called the Coca-Cola NASCAR series, parang ganun. And yun, binobroadcast siya sa Fox or one of the big network channels ng US. Every week, meron siyang time slot. Parang Thursday yata, tapos medyong prime time pa. And yun, it was a very big deal for, not just for iRacing, but yun, racing sims and esports in general. Kasi I think this was the first game that was to be really broadcasted regularly by network TV in the US.
Medyo mainstream din kasi yung NASCAR, diba? So, big thing nga siya.
Oo nga. Ayun.
Because of the pandemic? Or pa?
Before pa, mga siguro in-announce nila mga Feb of this year.
So may plans talaga sila.
Medyo na-timingan lang na nag-pandemic din.
Okay.
Ayun.
So, tawa ako sa NASCAR. Whenever I watch NASCAR, I always, parang the engine sound is always,
wala. High revs ka na eh. Wala ka you don't have to shift down or whatever. It's, wala.
Let off the accelerator, then accelerate again.
Yun lang.
Accelerate.
The only gear shifting you're doing is when you're about to start the car, rolling start. Tapos pag nandun na, wala na. Iwan mo na siya. Yan ang stock car racing. Sige, moving on. Heto. Magandang tanong to for our future, no, for our kids. If your child wants to join a varsity esports team, as a parent, how far will you go to support your child, no? Will you be hiring a professional coach or give him like the best equipment, whatever?
Oh yeah, all the way. I mean, siguro set lang a time limit for him and say, okay, you really want to do this, you have to prove to me that you have the passion and the talent in the next 3 years. Parang ganun.
I echo the same sentiments as well. So as a parent, you'd want to give your child how do I say, parang whatever he wants to grow his passions, ganun. So I echo the same thing that I want to, I would support when I have children, to support them all the way.
Maganda nga yung maganda nga yung time limit idea ni Rico. Sorry, JV, you were saying?
Yeah, I think, syempre, when we were kids, we didn't even have any idea like the jobs we have now didn't exist before, diba? Like social media, ganyan. So I feel na baka mainstream. Like when I ask him, do you wanna play Fortnite forever? Then syempre sabi niya, best game in the world, ganyan. Syempre it's gonna change it. So for me, I think I'd maybe more nuanced and say, if you really want to do something like this, then you have to understand the whole industry as the whole thing. Like, and parang Fortnite is not video games, right? There's so much more. And interesting because I just recently had a conversation with him about, di ba yung may issue si Epic Games and Apple?
Yeah.
It was actually a very first serious conversation. I had to explain to him the role of the publisher and the role of the content provider. So parang from siya, medyo parang okay. And then syempre now he's playing with his friends and he's chatting them up. Oh, my dad said ganyan. So parang syempre he's 7, so syempre I let him be. Pero for me, if I wanna parang gusto kong gawin sa kanya, like, okay, you really wanna prove that you're good enough, here's Ninja Gaiden on the NES. Please finish stage 1. Or finish Battletoads on the NES.
Wow! Sakit sa ulo. Dudugo ang daliri ng anak mo.
I hate games.
Nag-reverse
Now you know. Now you really wanna know.
I'm trying to push. Well, my eldest kasi, eldest daughter. Minsan nakikita niya mag-racing. Minsan nagtatanong, Papa, can I also try to race? Tapos, sige, ako naman, syempre, no? Tapos yun. Pero sayang, nasasawa agad, like siguro mga 10 minutes after, sawa na. Pero legit, she tries talaga to, sabi ko, sige, stay on the road, ha? Just follow the line. I turn on the driving lines for her para she can just follow. Tapos yun, nafa-follow naman. And then, I guess it's just the presentation of the game na nothing's happening. It's very dry. Nasasawa agad.
Well,
Yun nga,
interest naman in like becoming like a professional esports player, I think you have to approach it the same way that you would approach any sort of interest that your child is going to develop.
Mm-mm.
You have
Uh,
to find the game.
yeah,
Oo nga, oo nga.
Mm.
and you have to determine, is it something na they're going to stick with for a week kasi cool and then they lose interest in it, or talagang is it something that they want to pursue?
Tama, tama.
parang totoong talent lang talaga.
Parang, mahilig siyang natuto siya mag-violin, pero gagawin ba niya yan for
Oo nga, oo nga.
for next month, next year?
Oo nga. You're right. Ayoko rin nga kasi din ipilit, no? But then again, yun parang the things that she likes kasi are all things that have to do with your hands like drawing, puzzles, mga things that I don't like.
You do racing with your...
No, I mean, it's yung arts and crafts basically. Tsaka yung alam niyo ba yung uso ngayon, yung parang diamond art, yung you have to lay down like small pieces of plastic onto like para siyang cross stitch but it's just sticking gluing
something, yeah, okay.
yun ang gusto niya ako
Parang mosaic.
parang mosaic gano'n yan.
Interesting.
Papa, let's do this diamond art. Sabi ko, ayoko, ask your mommy. Hindi kaya ng mga daliri ko yan. Laki-laki ng kamay ko.
Mali mo, her skill is more creative than competitive, di ba?
Yeah, which is okay din.
Yeah.
Ayun lang. I'll have to wait for the other two kids to grow up and see kung masisingit ko pa sa racing.
You can live to them vicariously. Ano gusto mong video card mo dito?
Yan. Ay, nako.
Or baka James, one of your kids pala will be the next obnoxious pero super popular streamer pala.
Yeah,
Wow.
shit. Sige, okay.
Guys, what's up?
As long as magandang kita, sige, okay lang. Okay na sa akin. Ay. Okay, sige. Let's move on. Aside from better internet, no, ito, tinanong din natin to sa mga communities on Facebook. What do you think is needed to develop esports further in the Philippines? Yeah, maybe Franco, baka again, you're best suited to answer this.
Correct. So for me, it would be exposure to
Okay.
esports. Basically, all information that we get or as esports followers or the esports followers out there are mostly on Facebook, microsites where, let's say, ppgl.com. Doon lang nila makukuha yung information nila. But there's no dedicated following, let's say, on the sports part of sports news. There wouldn't be any esports part of it. It'll cut off right off after basketball, then gone. So it would just be, for me, it would be more awareness that it is out there, it is being done by these people, and it's being done professionally and it's just not a dead end, basically.
Right.
Ikaw, Rico, what do you think? Ako, yeah. So, yeah, what Franco said also good point, accessibility. Ako, personally, yeah, of course, given na yung internet, I mean, unless we have better internet as a baseline for everyone, the development will be limited. I guess, though, we also need to have a change in how things are perceived. Like, for example, I mean, this is just my feeling, but for example, a lot of people might be looking down on people who are popular as Facebook streamers, for example, kasi baka, iba yung style nila, iba yung ugali nila. But at the same time, you should also realize that they can actually have the talent to capture an audience, and that's something special in its own way, even if it's not something that you expect. Do you know what I mean? Do you guys know what I mean? Yeah. Also, I think so. Yes, Franco's effort, the organization of MET to really build this on the college level is also good. But I also think that the government, you know, can really support this as well. In fact, they should. For reference, I guess, there's actually a time when we were supposed to host major tournaments. So the Dota tournament schedule, it was
Mm.
divided into minor and major tournaments, and then
Mm-hmm.
we were actually supposed to host one of the majors regularly, consistently, because we hosted one major, it did really well, and we were all set up to really host this major every year from now on. But then biglang si Valve, the developer of Dota, started removing major status for tournaments being held here because they were worried with how I'm not sure, Franco, if you remember which government agency that was. Yung they were requesting for more information for any esports athletes
I
who were
think
coming.
this was for the drug testing.
Oh, drug
Yeah,
testing.
the
Mm.
testing part.
Uh, I, I reviewed the whole thing. I think the intentions were good, but it sort of came across to Valve as the government is asking for too much information regarding the players, so
Mm.
they withdrew the major status. So yeah, I mean things like that. I mean, you have people like Bam Aquino who actually helped. If I'm not mistaken, he actually helped TNC with their visa issues
Mm.
uh, because they were actually at risk of not attending that tournament where they earned $600,000 more or less because of this visa issues. And then you had someone like Bam Aquino actually stepping up to really help this team secure the visa. So yeah, I mean, I guess my point is the government should also take into consideration what they can do to support this.
Mm.
Absolutely. So it's a matter of policy din pala, no?
Oh.
Ay, oo nga. Ang daming siguro yan, mga antiquated policies pa. Like everything else.
And
Ay.
yes, so and the other thing is education. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
you really need to reach to the grassroots. So I mean the activities of CSB, if I'm not mistaken, where they have game design is one, but that's just only one part of esports. Esports is a whole ecosystem which students I think need to learn before they dive in if they want to get into esports.
Meron silang proposal sa, ano, di ba? I forgot if it was CHED. There was a major in esports that
Hmm?
pushing.
Oo nga pala.
Tapos iba-ibang disciplines din yan eh. Like you could be, you know what, I don't really remember.
Yeah, you can I read this sa FEU yata, they were trying to do a course eh. You can be shoutcaster, you can be a team manager.
Yes,
Mhm.
manager is
Yeah.
right. You're right.
Oh,
Oh,
yan.
crucial.
Yan.
Yeah, I think this is done with Tier 1 and Alodia.
Talaga?
Yeah, Alodia owns Tier
Grabe yung
1.
reaction mo, James.
Nagising ako ah. Well, pwede ba ako sumali just to meet Alodia? Yun ang dalawang crush ko ngayon eh. Si Alodia tsaka si Heart eh. So if I can meet either one of them, I think yan.
Oh, na-meet ko na siya in person, James.
Sino?
Hello, Ja.
Oh, yan. That's my bucket list.
So yung dalawang crush mo nasa opposite end ng spectrum.
Oh, okay lang. I can be whatever naman eh for them. Ay. Ay, nako. Sige na, heto na. Let's read some comments from some Facebook groups. I posted this question kasi, no. Eto muna tayo sa PC Gaming Philippines. From Wiles Indaya or Wills Indaya. Sana magkaroon ng dedicated esports channel sa local TV na hindi cable gamit. I think he's referring to this channel, yung the Egg Network ba? Diba it's owned by Signal and they broadcast mostly esports stuff.
Aha.
Nakikita ko sa gym dati eh.
Mm.
Daan ako nga sa, one time nasa ospital ako. Yung TV, nakita nga ako nagdodota.
Ayan,
Yeah.
yan.
Mm.
It's run by Signal, but honestly, I don't know what they're trying to broadcast there.
So
Uh,
there's no dedicated how do I say no program
yeah,
for
non-cable
local TV, non-cable.
na
Correct.
network channel tama.
That's quite legit. That's a
Yeah, so
good comment.
I guess that's gonna help with again exposure, no, which is the main issue that we're pointing out.
Mm.
Um, Next is from Faisal Hussein. Proper salary for esports gamers, not only at the highest level. Kaya walang gumugustong mag-all-in sa esports, lalo na yung mga tier 3 plus na players. Kasi kailangan din nila maghanap buhay. Ano ba tong tier 3 plus? What does that mean? Is that it's a rank or ano? I'm not sure
You
if
know,
it's a...
like anything, kasi esports, you have people who are the absolute top, the ones who make the big money, and you
Mm,
have other players who aren't doing as well, etc. Mga ganun.
mm,
But to comment on Faisal Hussein, it doesn't yun nga. So here the keyword here is esports gamers but there's a whole ecosystem like and I said this to the podcast. There's a whole ecosystem beyond being gamers so you could be broadcast, you could be a shoutcaster, yeah, but it has to be properly done at the grassroots level.
mm.
Agreed.
Okay. Chris Ryan Gutierrez said, local team boot camps and local team support. Kailangan i-improve ang funding line. For example, yung sa TSM, may sarili silang building for teams. Oh, yun yung nabanggit yung other team, no? So, is this true? They have like I think some teams have the houses and now this group has a whole building for esports.
Si Team Solo Mid yan, I think, TSM.
Mm. So ano yun? Parang training camp nila or something?
Yeah, because in order to be a team, probably well, this is what happens also in MET that we're all housed in one training center. The team is housed in one training center because so they can improve on teamwork, synergy with each other. Yeah, but this is quite true. But again, the local esports scene, since they don't have any awareness, they don't have any kulang yung revenue that goes into the team. This goes to revenue.
Pero at least meron na, no? Like this team. Yeah, they're...
It's na meron ng ganyan.
Oo. Hindi ko na-imagine na yeah, we have somebody's putting up a building just for esports or for training teams pala for esports.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, there's another something thieves, 100 thieves. They have their own house as well. And if you see, they have a nutritionist, a physical therapist in the US. Like, quite cool.
Meron din ako na nabasa and my dad pointed it out to me pa nga. Like, I forget which company did this, pero they're putting up a building, not just for esports but also for training streamers, yan, shoutcasters and something. I forget who eh. I'm not sure if you guys know about this.
I haven't heard, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing that. Kasi, yun nga, like what Franco was saying, it's not necessarily about just being the actual player. You can also be the streamer, who's actually better at entertaining people than competing. You can be in the logistics, like the general manager, the shoutcaster, etc.
Ayun. Interesting. Nagfo-flourish. Medyo, yan, there's signs of the industry flourishing a bit. Sige, next is si Jim Cletleo Altobar. Mas mababang electric bill na singil. Mas malawak na talent and esports player searching and testing. Open for all tournaments na hosted by known and acknowledged companies. Yung electric bill, good point yan. Mahal-mahal ng kuryente natin.
Ito na.
Diba? Siyempre, if you're gonna play, dapat komportable ka. So, hindi lang yung computer mo naka-on parati. Dapat may aircon ka. Proper lighting.
Cost a lot. Like, kunyari, nagtayo ka ng building dito
Hmm.
to develop your esports team. Yan, babayaran mo lahat yan.
Oo nga, overhead mo pa lang. Naku.
What would be interesting here if you would have aside from having a grassroots league, which would probably, you could grow it into a commercial league where you have, Batangas, San Juan, Makati, and then you would have, so going to his point na may open testing centers where you could compete within your LGU, and then probably the team owner for that city can probably make a team out of that open tournament and could compete from city to city.
Oo nga, yun ang vision, no? Okay,
Yeah,
sana yun.
Yeah, correct.
Si Von Daryl Tapik. Education, hindi lang para sa mga manlalaro, kundi para din sa general public. Negative pa rin kasi ang view ng maraming tao sa esports and online gaming in general.
Ayun. Yun yung
Yun.
sinasabi ko kanina.
Yun. Culture shift, I think, is the more apt term for this. And I think this one, naturally, it will evolve naman because, ayun, the decision makers naman will be basically us in a few more years.
Wow.
Views nandun sa mga boomers.
Yeah, I would say naka-deeply ingrained sa kanila. Like, yan, like our parents pa lang, they see us play games, parang ano ba yan? Ikaw at anak mo naglalaro.
Kaya sumasakit yung ulo mo eh.
Yan. Kaya ka nabubulag, kaya ka nagsasalamin. Yan. Pero I think yan, like I said, magiging natural evolution and it will be generally accepted and yan. Because we are taking over our generation.
Yes, that's correct. And our generation would be more open to, because we are the generation of gamers. So again, like you yourself, James, you're educating your daughter how to get into sim racing. It's the same thing. We're more open-minded than our parents.
About certain things, at least. I'm sure when we're older, we'll be closed-minded about certain things.
Yeah. Definitely.
Like, ano ba yung mind control interface mo kaya sumasakit yung ulo mo eh?
Yan. Padod ko sa anime yan. Mamamatay ka rin dyan.
Anime?
Diba yung anong pangalan ng anime na yan? Yung they got stuck in the MMO and then if they die there, they die in real life.
Sword Art Online.
Yan. Tama.
Ay, ito ba si Ain's own goal ba yung bida or something?
That's that's Overlord ata.
Okay.
Oh, yes, Overlord.
Ibang anime.
Ay,
okay.
Atay.
Oo nga. Sige, ito. Si Alan Mendoza. Basic subject on elementary students about esports. Para din mag-guide sila na hindi ma-addict. Like, i-open sila, hindi yung sa labas pa nila matutunan yung about dun. Kaya hindi nag-guide ng maayos. I guess this was also brought up by you kanina, Franco. It's part of the grassroots education and showing the kids na it's just not all about gaming and there's a wider aspect to it.
Correct. So, Mr. Alan Mendoza, we are doing something about your comment.
Yan. Sana parang gobyerno, no? Nasasagot yung mga tanong. Sige, ito naman from the good guys over at PlayStation Philippines. Mr. It's a little hard to pronounce your name, but Serben Erickson Salamat. I hope I got that right. Pagdating naman sa MOBA, kayang makipagsabayan internationally ang mga Pinoy. But as a fan of fighting games, I think yung FGC ang kailangan mag-excel, dagdagan ang mga events and sponsorships. Oo nga, ang fighting games parang may it's not as always as big
Correct.
yung mga events dito, no. I
Yeah.
mean, even I guess in international, like in the US, I don't think Evo, you can't shine a light of to compare Evo and like a League of Legends tournament, no. Sobrang laki ang league.
I think the biggest here in the Philippines would be Rev Major by Garayath in terms of fighting games. The
Rev Major, yeah.
Oo nga pala, tama.
yes, but you are correct that we need to add more e-gaming events, esports events, and sponsorships. And sponsorships is key.
Pero oo nga, in this case kasi ano no. Is this the barrier for entry of the game? Kasi it's fighting games are like generally harder to learn than MOBAs. Kaya ba they're less popular than playing a MOBA?
I think it would be the penetration for console versus mobile. So more people here in the Philippines, especially, would be more on mobile gaming rather than console or PC.
Oo nga. Like, not a few years ago, baka iba yung magiging perception eh. Like, if there were still arcade games where people can play, medyo malaki pa yung penetration nun. But now that everything's moved on to consoles, mas restrictive na siya.
Oo nga. Yun pala. So, platform penetration pala, not the difficulty of the genre.
Yes, correct. If everyone had access to consoles and television, because for console you need that TV pa, diba?
Yeah, you're right.
Diba to excel in fighting games, you also need specialized equipment.
Yes.
Pwede na ang controller.
Sabagay. You see a lot of people with controllers sa Evo ngayon.
Sige. Paulo Paguio. For me, siguro sana alisin na ang stereotype na nakakasama ang game sa atin. Well, technically, makakasama if we lead to addiction, but for me, stress reliever after long days of work, and also help me through a lot to avoid thinking things that may lead to depression or suicide. I guess again, like I said, it's more of a cultural thing when people look into games. As well, dapat nga yun, may education na rin on video game addiction, which is certified by the WHO as a real disease, di ba?
And then they decertified it.
They did that.
Nung pandemic, right? I think there was some article that came out.
Yeah, they said it helps with anxiety or whatever.
Yeah. They read that. Well, everything in moderation.
Yun, oo nga.
Saka ano naman if you don't really know it, people tend to see the worst of it eh. So, yan, yung mga namamatay sa internet cafe kasi hindi kumain for 48 hours. That's what people tend to remember.
Oo nga. I mean, there are other things that can kill you naman, no?
Yes. Lots of things.
Yeah. Nagiging lang, minsan hot topic lang yung video games because coincidentally, you're doing the act and then you died.
Yeah. You're doing that, and then you died.
Doing that, and then you died, yeah. Ay, nako. Van Subong, ito medyo mahabang sinabi niya. One major problem is the internet connection talaga. Given na yun. Pangalawa, siguro, di sapat na kita or pondo. Hindi ganun karaming esports club ang kayang mag-handle ng cost para mag-maintain ng isang esports team na may variety. Hindi basta-basta nabibigyan ng sponsorship dahil nasa bansa tayo na di masyadong kilala sa larangan ng esports except Dota or ML, which is Mobile Legends. Napakamahal din gumawa ng isang esports club dahil hindi lang players at coach ang kailangan mo sahuran. Kasama na dito yung mga nag-handle ng org mismo as a whole. Mostly na kinikita ng isang esports org coming from branding and sponsorship. Yun. Sige, maybe we can cut there and then I'll read the rest. Pero this leads again to ayun funding, like what JV said then, yung sponsorships, like mga mainstream brands being really into it.
Oo, kasi expensive naman talaga to maintain something like this. Tama, kailangan mo sahuran, may salary. These are professional players. And even the coach. So that money has to come from somewhere.
Correct. Yeah. And this, well, for me, like in the PBA, you would have these brands like Ginebra, Pure Foods. If esports becomes mainstream, there's no barrier to entry for these brands to sponsor a team in a major league, because it gives them brand exposure. It gives them the right amount of awareness to the public, and especially the esports league, esports in general. It's the youth. Sakop mo yung youth market. So a brand like Pure Foods, Tender Juicy Hot Dog would want to sponsor a team because the draw of esports would be their target market.
Okay, sige. I guess that's it, no? GG. GG lang, no easy, okay?
No easy. GG lang.
Easy. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it, we would appreciate it if you can follow us on Spotify. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, leaving a review will also be a big help. Finally, if you want to keep in touch, you can do so by liking our Facebook page. Just search for Tander Chats.